Hello. Just waiting for this thing to connect and go live. We should be live on 3 platforms. My name down in the corner, I'm Ian Hopfy. I'm a human resources consultant and Indigenous Relations consultant here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And today our topic is Career Club. So we're talking everything about resumes and cover letters and job applications and interviews and all that good stuff, job search stuff, maybe networking and things like that. We could talk about anything to do with your job search. If someone wants to come on the live, let me know. I can send you an invite. At least I should be able to send you an invite. If you want to chat with me, that's great. If you have some sort of business related to today's topic, I would love to have you on the show and we could chat. We can ask questions. You can talk about your business and get a little bit of free publicity and maybe create some content for your own social media. Just making sure my microphone's in the right position. Let's get some music going, some background, something better. Let's try chill today. Let's see. It doesn't get too loud. All right, there's something. A little bit of chill music going on. All right, great. If you have any questions today, ask your questions in the comments. I should be able to see them in the chat. I'm just going to double check that we are live. Just gotta log into my Facebook. Looks like we're live on Facebook. Here we are. We're live on Facebook. Let's check out the LinkedIn. I haven't been on LinkedIn yet this morning. Looks like we're live on Facebook. Yes, we are. Our LinkedIn. That was LinkedIn. Now let's check the YouTube. Yeah, live there. Just gotta mute myself. My sister's already. Okay, I left the puzzle competition. I mean, you don't have to come watch me, Joy, if you got a very important puzzle competition to watch. Actually, I really love puzzles. I wish I had more time to just watch puzzles. Or not watch puzzles. Maybe I don't want to watch puzzles, but certainly make puzzles. It's a good thing. Group of people, maybe having a few drinks. I mean, I don't really drink anymore, so that doesn't really matter. Make sure my screen's nice and straight where I want it to be. You can see some of my junk over there on the side table. I mean, there's a lot of junk back there right now. I've been kind of cleaning up the mess that's beside me. So, some music going on. Did I have anything planned today? Of course I never have anything planned. I'm terrible at planning things. What I was doing this morning was trying to set up some items for sale because yesterday I spoke about how I'm going to be using my Friday lives, 11:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. I'm going to also go live on Whatnot, and I'm going to sell off some of my old comic books and things like that. Here's a comic book I'm going to sell tomorrow. This is an Indigenous comic book from here in Canada. It's called Vision Quest. So I see some guy on eBay trying to sell this for $44.99. Right, $44.99 Canadian. That's what he's trying to sell it for. So I'm gonna sell it tomorrow on the live. I haven't decided the price. I think maybe I'll start the auction at like $2 or something like that. And that could be something that if you get under $5, you could resell yourself. Or if you're a collector of indigenous comics or obscure comics, that would make a great addition to your collection. Well, I'm on Whatnot right now, and I'm trying to set up the items, and I haven't done it, so I'm scared myself. I don't know how to do it. I don't know nothing. So I'm really nervous trying to sell stuff online. I mean, this almost 4 weeks of me going live during the day like this has maybe given me a little bit of practice, I hope, being live. And I know we haven't had a lot of interactions. My sister, I love you, she comes on and tries to watch me. She's probably just bored. Well, so Career Club. If you are in Edmonton today and want to come talk to me live, in person, in real life, I host the Career Club at the Queen Mary Park Community Hall the third Thursday of every month. So at our hall here in Queen Mary Park in downtown Edmonton. I could post the address. Maybe I should post the address. Anyway, we start at 7 o'clock, and I'll go till 9 if people are there. But if nobody's there by 7:30, I take off, man. I take off. I'm like that. Let's see. I'll get the address. Get the address to the hall. Of course, it's not easily accessible on the website. The website for the community league is queenmarypark.ca. And here's the hall address. Let's see if I can put it in. No board. I would so go to that if I was there. Okay, so my sister's not bored. My singular wit. One person likes watching me, and that's my big sister. She says she would so go to the Career Club event if she was in Edmonton. She lives out of town. So here's the address. I posted it in the chat. It should go to the YouTube and the Facebook. It's not posting to the LinkedIn chat. So if you're watching this on LinkedIn, maybe I'll create a QR code. Yeah, I'll do that. I just don't know what to do. I'll just link it to the Queen Mary Park Community League About page, and down at the bottom of that page is the hall address. That's what I'll do. That's the link. Park Community League Hall. I got an image for that? I don't think I got an image for that. I'll just create it without the image. Here we go. Queen Mary Park Community Hall. Scan this QR code right now if you want to come to the hall tonight and visit with me in person. You can bring your paper resume and I can go through it. You can ask me questions. Like, some people are scared to talk to me on this chat, ask me questions here because it seems too public, but certainly come out to the hall tonight, 7 to 9 p.m. It is a drop-in, but only if people are there. If nobody shows up by 7:30, I may take off. In real life career club. Thursday. 7 p.m. Yeah, I updated it. Let's see if it updates on its own. Oh yes, in real life career club, third Thursday, 7 p.m. So come out to that. What's going on here? Oh, just some email coming in. It's okay. I notice every time I go live, I get like 13 emails over the lunch hour. I guess that's just when places have automated their emails to come in, so I just get all these newsletters and emails and stuff. Still a little too high. Let's bring it down. And my hair, sorry, I didn't really do up my hair. I still need a haircut. Sorry, I look scraggly. I went to my barber. I go to the localist barber I can in the community. So I go to this barber. He's got a really great rating on Google. So I've gone to him like 4 times. And that was the last 4 times I got my hair cut. But that's been 4 times over like 2 years. Excuse me, I had to burp. I am so terrible about going for a haircut. I'll just let it grow out until it goes crazy, and then I finally go get a haircut and get a real job. The book a meeting link with me. That's me with perfectly good cut hair. Let's see if I can change the view. Let's see if that picture. There. Look. That's how I normally look. I mean, and the interesting thing from this photo, I've actually lost about 50 to 60 pounds since that photo was taken. So I don't know if you can tell. Maybe a little bit in the cheeks. I don't know. Maybe I just look older. There's more gray now. There's gray in my hair. I got gray like Mel Gibson in Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. That's the gray I got right now. I think it looks cool. It looks cool. Anyway, I'm gonna get rid of that. Don't need that up anymore. Yeah, I'll leave the hall address up there. I'll change the view. I don't like that one on the side. This looks better here. If you want to come to the career club tonight, please follow this link. Like I say, I'm gonna be there probably right at 7 o'clock. Pull out a table, a couple of chairs. I'm in the main hall. Right, just walk through the 2 sets of doors, and I'll be there. I'll be there. Someone's chatting. My sister says, you helped me improve mine years ago, and I started helping others. Are you stealing my business? She's stealing my business. My own sister is stealing my business. Unfortunately, I'm off on a taxi trip. No cell service. In no cell service land. Back to bug you later. Okay, so she's gone. So maybe she didn't hear me rant about her stealing my business. So I think she listens to me while she's driving around, and she'll do some taxi trips for people in the community, and just be driving family around, or on her way to Slave Lake or Athabasca or something like that, driving through the country. So I really appreciate that she listens. It would be really great if other people would listen. Oh, there's my wife. So yeah, so I got that link up. Yeah, I feel like yes, I fed the cats earlier. They were looking at me funny. It was 11 o'clock, so I fed them about an hour early. Sorry about that. So we have 3 cats. Jack, Key, and Chan. Get it? Get it? Jackie Chan. We are so smart. SMRT. Yes, that's us. We had to do something fun. And it was fun. They have fun names. So, if you can't make it live, scanning this link for the information on the hall in the community in downtown Edmonton here, we've got, or I've got, I've got a Fiverr gig set up where I will review your resume. So you can go pay on Fiverr, and I'll review your resume and give you all kinds of tips. And then you can go back and rewrite your resume or improve your resume. I wholeheartedly believe everybody should have a current resume on the go. The current resume you should be updating. Every time you learn something new at your current job, go create a bullet point on your resume. Right? If you got 20 bullet points from your current job, that's fine. Maybe you can use ChatGPT to clean them up and, make them look better. Maybe the ChatGPT can combine a few, but cover all the information. Sorry, I'm just stuffed up a little bit. But I can review your resume, and I'll give you tips to improve it. Right now, Canadian, it's $7.24. Now, Fiverr started out as $5 for gigs, that you do gigs. But that's $5 US. So $5 US is $7.24 Canadian, and there's additional fees. There may be additional fees on Fiverr's side, so it might cost you closer to $10 to get this done. In person, if you came to me and said, "Hey, Ian, review my resume," and I've had friends do this, connect with me over Facebook or whatever, I'll charge $25 for this. This is normally a $25 activity for me, because I think about my time and how much me as a consultant I normally bill out in an hour. This is $25 of my time. But on Fiverr, you can get it for $7.24. There's some chat. My sister says she heard me. She heard me accuse her of stealing business. That's fine. That's fine. I mean, if you're connected with me on LinkedIn primarily, and you message me and you start asking me questions about HR or your resume, I'll answer you. I'll give you tips. And there's some people that I chat with for a while and I get to know. And then when they start and we start chatting and stuff, I'll just offer for free to do the resume. But if a whole bunch of people start asking me for free stuff right now, I'll just send you this thing. I gotta make something, man. And I have this set really low on Fiverr because I'm trying to get to the next seller level on Fiverr. Right now, I'm on the second level. It's called level 1. But you have a beginner's level, and then you have level 1, and you have level 2, and then you have top rated. And you've got to meet certain conditions and do a certain amount of sales before you can move to the next level. So right now I'm level 1. That's the second level they have. I'm not a beginner, and it's taken me a few years, and I'm just trying to keep it cheap so I can get to that level 2. When you increase your level on LinkedIn like that, selling your own gigs, freelance work, whatnot, your gigs are favored more in the searches. So if someone was searching for resume review, or if they just search resume, my gig would show up before somebody who just started a gig or just started an account doing resumes. So it's takes some time, but I guess that's something I want to talk about, is Fiverr and other freelancing websites, right? We're talking about careers here, but you might also be trying to do some sort of side hustle. And yesterday was side hustles, yes. But I want to mention, if you're in the middle of a job search right now and you've got some skill that you can offer, you can set up a Fiverr gig and maybe start making some money. Now, with everything, I haven't really advertised or talked about my Fiverr. I'm using it as a secondary way of making a little bit of money. So I'm just leaving it, and it's only the people who are currently searching on Fiverr that find me. I'm not doing any work to it. This is probably the first time I've really talked about it or advertised it in some way. There goes my wife. So if you're gonna do something like a Fiverr gig, God, my lenses, there's something going on. I gotta clean them. Anyway, it's something that you could be doing on the side, certainly a side hustle, and it may lead to larger contracts or even a permanent position. I know I was hired as, not through Fiverr, but as a freelancer. I was hired as a consultant. I was hired to do some work for an organization, and then like 3 months later they actually offered me a job as their HR manager. And so it was an interesting way to transition from just doing basically gig work for this organization, and then they moved me into a full-time position. So that was interesting. So that was kind of a back way into getting a job. And I had heard about this years ago, where somebody would connect with someone from an organization, and they would ask them, hey, what's your biggest issue with your organization right now? And then they would do some work, free work, and come back to that person and say, here's some work I did. I hope this can help you out. And they basically just did some free work just to get noticed. And I mean, obviously you don't want to be doing this 14 times a day as you're sending out resumes. But if you have an organization or that perfect position that you want, why not connect with some people in that organization and ask them questions. Hey, what's the biggest issue with your organization or with how you're doing business or whatever? I mean, it can be a little invasive asking these questions, so maybe get creative in how you can do it. And then you send them your work, your research or whatever, and say, hey, I hope this can help. I really enjoyed talking to you, and I went back and I looked at some stuff. Here's what I found. Cheers. I hope you have a great day. Right? But maybe you make a friend. Maybe you've created that inside man, that internal, what's the word I'm looking for? Internal reference. So that when a job does open up, maybe that person says, hey Joy, here's that job. Here's a job opening up in our organization, and I thought of you. You should apply. Right? And you'd be like, oh, thanks, buddy. And you'll say, can I use you as a reference? Right? And they'll say, yeah, sure, you did some great work for me. You helped me get a promotion or whatever, right? Like maybe you did that good of work. And so that's kind of a back door into an organization. But that's for an organization that's your dream job, that's your dream organization that you want to work for. Certainly do a little extra. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, I have seen hiring processes where they ask the applicants to do some sort of work. They built in the free work into their application process. And I think this is devious. If I'm volunteering to do it, that's one thing. But if in the process it's do a project, like you're just getting free work off all these people. So you apply from the job ad, and then they come back, or they do the initial reviews and cuts, and then they come back and they maybe give you that first interview, or a lot of stuff might be automated. They get you to fill out some sort of survey, and this is either a personality test or just getting deeper into your experience or something like that, right? So you finish that, and then maybe they do the initial interview, and this is usually a Zoom interview, a phone interview, something a little less invasive. And at that point they say, okay, we have a project so we can see how you work. Here's a project for you to do. Please hand it in by Friday. Right? So you're doing this project for them, and you hand it in by Friday. They might be rating you on how quickly you get it done, how thorough it is, if they covered everything. That's kind of what you should be doing. You should be grading it and marking it. And in my mind, this project that you're doing should be just a test project that they have done in the past, and it's their standard testing project. It shouldn't be a new project or a new issue they've come up with. So they've discovered in the last 6 months that there's this issue, and they want to get some ideas, and now they're getting these ideas from 50, 100 candidates, and they're just getting all these ideas, and either they're just scamming that way and they don't hire anyone, or they do actually hire someone, but they still get a ton of creative ideas. I mean, I love being able to hire a creative person who thinks out of the box and stuff like that, but using them to get free ideas is sad. certainly a giant red flag. I would say give an initial project like that during the probation period, the 3 months to 90 days, during that probation period where you can just cut someone right away. You give them the initial onboarding and the training for their job, and then you say, we got a creative project for you, please do this project. And you give them like 30 days. It's kind of a side project. They get part of the day to do it while they're learning their real job, and you get to see how creative they are. But you're paying them. You're paying them for their time at this point. So that would be a better way to do that project-based stuff. It's a little more honest and upfront. So I don't like that process. But last week, I was just thinking. Last week we actually went through ChatGPT and demonstrated how it reviewed my resume, and it gave me suggestions to update my resume. And then we copy and pasted and ran through an actual job description or a job ad, and we ran it through and asked ChatGPT to generate a cover letter for me, and it came up with this beautiful draft cover letter. And there was just a few tweaks I needed to do, because sometimes ChatGPT uses language and makes assumptions a little bit on what you really did on that role. So when you get ChatGPT to generate anything for you, make sure you review it. There's also a confidence level. You may know that you're doing a certain job, a certain task, and your experience behind it is true, but you don't feel confident about saying that or embellishing that experience. And we've all got these different levels. Yes, you probably have that experience with those words, with that keywords. That's the proper way to say what experience you have, but you don't feel confident with it. So after you get that draft, you should certainly edit it and make sure it's written the way you would say it. And we had set ChatGPT last week to write the cover letter. At least I thought we did. Anyway, I thought we'd set it to 7th grade English. And of course, me being in HR and having a degree, there's just some words you just can't change out, but it was very easy to read. So that's 7th level reading level, right? That you can tell it to do that. And you can change that up or down if you want it to sound like if you want it to sound like someone with a PhD, it'll do that. Or you can say, let's make it so it's 5th grade easy. I mean, we learn in school the language, and there's a lot of stuff we don't use in daily speaking, in the vernacular, right? We don't use certain words. They've kind of drifted off, but they're still there. They're still part of the language. But languages are like our cultures. They change over time. I keep seeing these videos on YouTube about how far back could a modern human go in time and still understand English. And the person will speak modern English, and then they'll speak English from the 1800s, and then they'll do like 1700s, and I think can't remember, but it really felt like the limit was maybe 1600s, because at that point the way we spoke was just so different, and it was still melding with other languages and stuff like that, right? So it's kind of interesting to see that languages change. They do. The hardcore language people, they do get upset when a new word gets put into the dictionary and all hell breaks loose, right? But that's the language. That's the growing, changing language that we've adapted. And there's so much new stuff in our language, especially now with the advent of technologies, right? There's certain words that just aren't there. They've been created. Makes me think about my own language from my Indigenous history. Our language is the Sakau Cree language, which is the language of the Big Stone Cree Nation. It is, Sakau means boreal forest. So we're kind of a cross between Plains Cree in the more south and the Woodland Cree, which is more northwest of our traditional lands. And why was I talking about that? Oh, yeah, my aunt, I would consider her an elder for the language. And I remember when she was doing her research on the language and working on curriculum stuff, she would have to get on the phone with my granny, her mother, and they'd be talking in Cree, and they'd be talking about a word. How would you say this thing? Right? I remember she talked about hippopotamus once, and I can't remember the exact saying, but her and Granny talked about it, and they came up with, in Cree, they would say, large, gray, dirty pig, or something like that likes to swim. It was a description, and that was the word for hippopotamus. And I've seen books where they were talking about different items around a modern house. Microwave. Ooh, that's a new technological thing. Even in regular English, microwave, that had to be invented itself. But now you think about Sakau Cree, and it's like, I can't even remember. It was a long word, but it was a description. It was like a box that heats up food with invisible sunlight or something like it. It was this long giant word, and I can't remember exactly the parts of it, but it was interesting. So when you see language changing, that's part of language. So, and we need to adapt to that. And with our modern systems that are searching for keywords in our resumes and our cover letters, we have to be mindful of these keywords. And there's a job title does not fully explain what your work experience in that job is. I like to think about administrative assistant. Okay. We immediately, each of us, thought in our head what we think an admin assistant does. There's certain things that we automatically know. Now, the AI that's doing the initial review of your resume may not be having the same thoughts and think, oh, they said administrative assistant, so here's a list of things that they may be programmed when it says admin assistant. This is the stuff that an admin assistant does. And those are the same things that we think of, but that does not mean that's a description of your work. Because administrative assistant is such it's back office clerk type job that is also reception facing or something, right? Like there's certain things we think about that an administrative assistant does, and each of us thinks of a list of things. And if we saw that experience of me as HR and I see a resume that says admin assistant, I may think, well, that's not the experience we're looking for, right? That's not the experience that I'm thinking of my head by you just saying administrative assistant. And that's if your resume got to me. Because if our keyword search tool is looking for certain keywords, I'm looking for not payroll, accounts payable or accounts receivable, right? I'm looking for someone who's going to be doing an admin role, but this is a major function they'll be doing. Just because you got administrative assistant experience does not mean that you've done accounts payable or accounts receivable, because technically those are a finance function. So if you said finance admin assistant, right, that's a different ballgame. That's a different position. But if it's just administrative assistant, it may not be doing these specialized things. So that's where I say, every time you learn something new in your position, add it to your resume. So I'm an administrative assistant, but I do accounts receivable, and I do other functions. Maybe I'm inputting payroll and overtime. These aren't necessarily skills an admin assistant would be doing, right? Maybe you are covering for a supervisor when they're not in the office. So all of a sudden you get this little bit of supervisor experience, maybe 2-3 weeks a year over a 5-year career. That's months of supervisor experience that you need to tell people about. And it is just so important to keep that resume up to date. Gaming with Me says, hi, sir. Okay, I'm not sure who you are, but thank you for saying hi. And that was like just now they said that. So I'm not sure who this hi, sir is. Anyway, if you got a question about Career Club, so jobs, resumes, gaming with me, please go ahead and ask the question in a comment. Don't be shy. Where was I? I was talking about resumes. The importance of updating them. The importance of using your industry keywords. So if you're an administrative assistant, okay, but you use all the keywords for that typical position and all the keywords for the additional things you might experience, but also consider the industry you were in. So you were an admin assistant for a logistics trucking company, right? What are the keywords for that industry? Use those keywords. Bill of lading, just these words you would hear in a logistics trucking environment, right? Like you would put these words in and make sure they're in your resume for that in that position, that job position you're in. think about the industry specific words, because you might be applying for a certain industry. It's a different industry, but maybe it's related. Use those industry keywords. Keep your resume up to date. Absolutely. So if you can get your resume up to date, lots of bullet points for the work experience, you can also put bullet points into your education experience, because there might have been programs or projects that are related to your industry and things like that. So go ahead, put them in there. Get 5 to 10 bullet points for each education. That's totally fine. And volunteer experience. Oh my God. I can't say this enough. Make sure you have your volunteer experience on there, because you're going to get some different keywords, different industry, different, you're covering all your bases. The idea is that when your resume goes through the automated system and gets reviewed, you want to make sure it gets flagged and it's like, this guy might be a potential. Because you've got to get to that first interview. And the only way you can do that is if the AI that the company is using flags you, yes, and or the first hiring manager or the recruiter that looks at your resume, skims it real quick and sees keywords, and they put in the maybe pile. Right? That's the first search. I've had 500 resumes on my desk before, and I've had to go maybe or absolutely not. Right? Basically, I'm just trashing those ones. And then the maybes, once I have them all sorted out, maybe there was, 100, 200 maybes out of that stack of 500. Then I got to go through and rate them further for the different positions I might be hiring for or whatnot. And if you don't have the industry jargon, the industry keywords, the position jargon, the position keywords, at this point, I'm just like, oh, wow, they had the admin assistant experience, but it doesn't say anything about manning the phones or being at reception, cover off, or anything like that. So I really need someone who can cover off our receptionists when they're on lunchtime, right? If that's not in there, oh my God, you just missed. You just missed because you didn't say, I covered reception, or I covered the phones, or I'm on the phone list for customer service, right? You might actually have 2 or 3 customer service people in your organization, but they take lunches at strange times, they get busy, and they're on the calls, and you're number 4. You're number 4 on the list. So you're still taking customer service calls, even though you're the admin assistant who's not normally customer facing in this organization. But they put you there so that the clients can call in and not get answering machine or not get silence, right? They still get somebody, and you still had to help them with the basic stuff until one of the customer service people gets free, and then you can transfer their call, right? So normal reception is not part of, when you think about that job title, they're not part of the customer service phone lines, right? So that break. Yeah, as many keywords as you can possibly put in there, full names of programs, and or the short versions of the programs. So you used Microsoft Office Suite daily, and then you list the programs: MS Word, MS PowerPoint, MS Excel, right? MS Outlook, right? That's your experience for the programs that you're using. And you got to be mindful, because the person might be looking for Microsoft Word. I need someone who can use Microsoft Word without me having to train them. And you didn't put Microsoft Word, you put Microsoft Office. You missed. It was a miss. You don't get tagged. A physical person doesn't get to see your resume. You've lost the opportunity. You didn't even get to the racetrack, let alone hear the starting gun. Like, you didn't get there, right? Your bus broke down on your way to the track and field event, right? You just totally missed out because your resume does not have the keywords. You got to be strategic about the keywords. I hate skills lists. Basically just a place for you to put a bunch of keywords. I hate those. I want those added into your work experience, or your education experience, or your volunteer experience. I used Microsoft Office and Microsoft Word on a daily basis when working at XYZ company, right? Like that is more powerful than just a list that says Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office. Get your keywords in there, yes. So get you past any automated systems, but it may not get you past the person scrutinizing your resume. It might get you through the first pass, so it might get you into the maybe pile, and it might not get you thrown out right away. But once you're in that maybe pile, and you're being basically compared to other candidates, you have this list of experiences, but this other person says they used it daily at their current job, and it's basically provable, as opposed to your unprovable list, just saying you have experience. I think a lot of organizations, they trip up there, because if I have Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word experience from my education, but my last 10 years worth of work, whatever I was doing, I never used it during those jobs. So it's almost, I guess on our part, a scammy way that we can get in. But if you're comparing the experience, the jobs you've been doing for the last few years might not be directly related to the job you're applying for, because you're changing careers, whatever, something like that. So yes, when you were in university, you used Microsoft Word to write your papers and reports. Okay, that's great. But that was 10 years ago. The operating system has changed over the last few years. It always changes. So you don't have any recent experience. The jobs that you didn't have you doing Microsoft Word. But you're able, because you had that list, it got you in the door. Okay, sneaky, great, maybe, but say you get the job, or they ask you to do a quick skills test on your Microsoft Word skills. I've administered these tests before. I printed out a document that I had created, and I said, create this document. So all they had was a sheet of paper in front of them, and they had to recreate the document in Word. And then I would look at the Word document, the digital document that they created, and I'm able to see what they did, the formatting they used, what tools they used in the program, to see if they actually knew the program. And I mean, in that case, you're looking at a document where the person was spacing over to get things moved, and they had all these strange spacings and things like that, instead of taking the object and actually moving it over like an image or something, changing how the image interacts with the document, right? They didn't do any of that. They were just spacing over and like creating these lines with the spaces and the enter button. And well, that proves to me that you really don't know Microsoft Word. So you've kind of shot yourself in the foot. You said you knew Microsoft Word, but they got you. Now, even a worse situation, they didn't give you a test, and you got hired, and you did your initial training, and then they said, here, we need you to work on these documents and format it. That's kind of your first job, right? So you got a 40-page policy document that you now need to format a certain way. Freak out, and now you are trying to teach yourself Microsoft Word, and maybe you're not sure how to do certain things. You're certainly not going onto YouTube at the office and listen to and watch videos on how to do this stuff, because you're supposed to know how to do it. So you have no time to train up, no time to get the work done. And I mean, 40-page document for me to format, that's like 2 days work, solid work, right? So if you're a real Microsoft Word expert, you could probably get it done in a day. It takes me a couple days. And I would say my skill, even though I use Microsoft Word all the time, I don't do a lot of the fancy stuff. So I would say I'm somewhere between moderate and expert. Like I'm probably more in the moderate zone, right? There's a lot of tricks in Microsoft Word. But if you sit there and you're like a week in and all you were doing was trying to format this document, well, they're going to know you don't know how to format, because anybody else in the office could have been assigned that and had it done in a day or two, not 5 to 7 days, right? So you don't, I'm trying to say it's not worth it to embellish on your resume, because you're going to end up getting let go and you're just wasting your time. Get the job that your skills are at, and you'll be able to stay there and learn and grow from there. But if you take a job that's a skill level too high for you, because you fudged your resume a little bit, you're not going to grow in that position. You're going to stagnate. You're going to get stuck there, or they're going to fire you. Worse yet, they're going to fire you in 90 days. Worse yet, they're going to fire you that first week because you barely know how to turn on your computer, and you lied and you're like, you use computers all day long, right? My sister just said, got halfway to the North End and they texted saying they probably had another ride. Oh, I'm going to go work on my resume, she says. Oh, jeez. So that's her side hustle. She taxis people around. I mean, cheap people. I mean, if you're going to commit to something, commit to it. But people are cheap. Cheap. Sorry to hear that, Joy. Sorry you lost a little bit of money and wasted the gas. Like, gas is expensive nowadays, right? So, what a waste. Tell them they're going to send you $5 anyway to help pay for your gas. They won't do it. They absolutely won't do it. Tell them if they call again, you're going to charge them an extra $5 to make up the gas. Or tell them you've increased your prices now. And then you can get a little extra money out of them for that long trip. Oh, terrible. So, where were we? I was yammering on about making sure your resume is good and up to date, and use the industry keywords, and make sure it's written at your English level. And once you have a solid resume, then if you're applying for a job, you can use that same resume. Just make sure your resume is set up for that industry. If you're thinking, I'm looking for administrative assistant work, then your resume is set up like that. But if you're looking for finance, account payable, clerk work, that's going to be a slightly different resume, because you're going to use different industry jargon in different keywords, right? It's going to be different because you're not going for the same job. So certainly I have my resume set up for human resources positions. So human resources advisor, human resources generalist, human resources business partner, human resources manager, human resources assistant manager. Like that's my resume. That's how it's geared for. But if I decided, oh, it's a hard job market, and I just want HR administrative assistant, I can change up my resume and talk about more of my admin assistant experience. And I just happen to have a whole lot of HR experience, so I can get in there. I could easily get an HR assistant job and adapt to that real quick, because I know the industry language, I know the industry jargon, and I'm just doing the admin work, which I have done for years and years. I spent 5 years working for the federal government as a case management assistant, which is an admin assistant role, right? So it's just it was a different industry, right? So I can adapt a resume that's going to say, Ian, it's too hard for you to get that HR advisor job. Let's just go for an admin assistant job. It's going to be like $40,000 to $55,000 a year. So it's not what I feel I should be able to make with a degree and my experience in HR, where I feel I should be more like 75 to 100 grand. Like that's where I feel like I should be, but maybe I just want that job. And I think in my industry, in the HR industry, I think there's a lot of people stepping down like that. They're saying, I'm not going for the HR advisor job. I'm going to get the HR assistant job, and it get me in the organization, and maybe within a year I can apply for that internal job and get that HR business partner position, right? Like that's really what I should do if I'm looking for a job in this market, because right now I'm just applying for jobs I really like and I really want. And I've shifted to HR related or management related jobs in nonprofits. And so because I really love nonprofits, so I want to work there. Let's see, we got a few messages in here. My sister Joy. Oh my gosh, she says it hurt when I was given a document to update. Updated with the new information. The person that did it used the space bar for everything, and I had to redo the whole document. Editing a document from scratch is crazy, especially when someone's space, and then you gotta go in. And it's not like you can go in and just white formatting. You actually have to go line by line, deleting the formats. We got Cindy made a comment from LinkedIn. Ian, I've heard about leaving older jobs off. Maybe no more than 10-ish years. Any idea on how to capture that experience? And sort of related with contract work, my company name or the clients. Now, if I think, that's the main thing. I advise people, keep just your current experience. I do say the last 10 years because this is current experience. But if you're shifting roles, or if there's a specific role that has something that a job you did 15 years ago or 20 years ago is relevant, then go ahead, put it on there. You can have different versions of your resume, Cindy. That's just fine. And gear it towards kind of these segments in your industry or whatever, right? You may have had 20 years ago a great management role that you had for 10, 15 years, but now you've gone on to do other things, but now you're looking back at a management role. Well, that management experience could still be valid. So yes, I think what you kind of want to do is almost keep a basic resume that just has all your job history on it. So mine would go back to my real first job was working as a unit clerk in a hospital. That was an admin assistant job, right? That was a unit clerk job. And before that was working at the family laundromat. So that was a retail job. I'm 15 years old, selling quarters to people and selling pop and chips to people, right? So it's kind of different. Now, when you're talking about contract work, it's hard to talk about your clients sometimes because the work is confidential. You would have to ask your clients if you could reference them on your website, your business website, your consulting website, right? Some business have this long list of here's all our clients, and it's like Shell Canada, Simon Fraser University, or whatever, right? Like you have this long list, but you got to ask them, especially if you're going to put it onto your resume. Where it's sort of related with contract work, my company name, or the clients. Well, putting your own company name, my resume says LBH Business Services, and I have myself listed as Human Resources Consultant. And I think I put all the stuff I've been doing, and I talk about the stuff that I've done for my clients. So it's not internal work, it's client work, but I'm not listing my clients. I'm not saying Shell Canada. I'm not saying the other industry names. So I incorporated my business in 2020 during the pandemic. So I say, legally I've been running my business since 2020, but I've been doing little bits of consulting work since about 2016. And that's kind of where I start my experience off for that. So it really depends on your mood, your tolerance of how you might share this information. But it's hard sometimes to say, I've been running my business, but now I'm applying for this job, right? They're going to look at your resume and say, oh, is this a failing business or whatever, right? That's what the cover letter says. I've been running my own business, but I just love your organization, so I'm considering taking a role there and putting my business on the back burner, right? You got to give them something, because they're going to start thinking, why is this person a no good consultant, right? And Let's see what else. My sister says, I'm going to make that person prepay before heading up there. I usually do not. $40. Okay. My sister, she was on a taxi trip and she didn't get her customer to prepay. So now she's going to go home and review her resume. And HNK 2015 says, what's up? What's up? Just doing a live. And that's from YouTube. And Cindy's got some follow-up questions here. She says she used to manage teams, but haven't in a long time. Sometimes management skills are something that can transcend time. If it was a technology skill, if you were saying, I used Microsoft Word in 1997 on a daily basis. Oh my God, the changes in the software since 1997? Crazy. There's just a ton of changes. It's not the same software that it was back then. So if you haven't used Microsoft Word since 1997, if you haven't been using it since 1997, there's so many differences. And I don't think someone who hasn't used it in almost 30 years could just jump in and start using it again. They would have to take some time to learn it. And I think there's a lot of different programs that are like that. But management skills, I think they're a little bit less, I was the word, they don't change as much. People are still people. We still try to treat people with respect, and we try to give them opportunities to learn and train. And then we are very specific about, you're not getting the job done right, so we're putting you into the disciplinary process, right? What else do you need for your help, right? Like, we're still trying to treat them like people and try to get them up to par for what our organization needs. But you got to be very definite and very immediate on, you're not doing the job, how can we improve? You don't wait a year until their employee review and say, look, you didn't do this, so we're going to fire you, right? You didn't give them an opportunity. But those management skills certainly can be brought forward, Cindy. So I would say throw them on there. If you're going into a management role, throw it on there. That's something that could bring forward. I would say be mindful about the different generations and kind of the changes in work attitudes. If you think you're going to be supervising or managing younger people in this day and age, just kind of be aware of what, the people they are now. This isn't someone who's 60 years old and, right, they're a boomer and they're used to shut up and do the work. It's different. It's a different culture. So kind of just be aware of this when you walk into a different management position. Cindy also says, thanks, that helps. Got discouraged in my last job and it isn't the work I love. Oh, man. I can last a long time doing work that I know how to do and I can learn and I can do well. But if the work environment is just hell, or I got a bad manager, I can't handle that. I can only go so long. And in the past, it's been, especially when I was trying to get my degree as an adult, I kept working full time at these jobs that I didn't like, didn't enjoy. But I sucked it up and I did it, right? Because I was busy trying to get my degree. So if you don't like your job, update your resume, start applying for other jobs. Try to get a job offer before you quit your current job. But if your soul is dying, find a way to survive for the next 6 months to a year without a job, because you've got to get out of that bad position. But don't quit until you've got options, right? You've got to find those options. Sell your house, sell your car, move back in with your parents, like these sorts of things. Talk to your spouse about using the savings for the next while to get by, right? Like, you've got to have options. I don't want to say just cut and run. I mean, other places, some people might say, I think about Gary Vee, he's going to be like, just fucking quit, right? Like, he's gonna swear at you, and he's gonna tell you, just get out of there. It's a terrible thing, right? But certainly find some way to survive while you're searching for that new job. So, Cindy, you talk about some consulting work. Maybe you could pick up a couple consulting contracts and save that money to survive as you start searching for a new job. Get creative. But I certainly don't want people to stay in a job where their soul is dying. And my wife just walked in the room, and I just think about her different reactions to different departments in the same organization, and how she's adapting to this new positive department. Every time she talks to her boss, she's like, oh my God, did I mess something up? And it ends up being something good. So she's having trouble adapting at this great new department she's in, because she's gone so long in the jobs where it's very strict, and they don't, there's just no slack. So it's interesting. She's starting to feel pretty good about her position now. She was a little nervous to start with, but she has been happier. So don't stay in that job where your soul is dying. But I'm also saying, don't cut and run unless you got a plan. Spruce up that resume, get some cover letters done, use ChatGPT or other AI to help you with this process if you want, right? Just make sure you review everything that comes out of those AIs, because they're putting extra spaces in, or they're using that M dash, that extra long dash, when it's supposed to be just a comma. So review it. Make sure you're not sending in something that's completely 100% AI-ish. So lots of chats in here today. Thank you, everyone. That's awesome. It allowed us to get some good content, talk about stuff. And I just want to remind everyone that you can see me live tonight, every third Thursday of the month, at the Queen Mary Park Community League Hall. This QR code will give you the address, and this is here in downtown Edmonton. So you can bring your hard copy resume, and I can give you some tips and all that cool stuff. I start at 7, and it's a drop until 9, except if nobody arrives by 7:30, I shut it down and I take off, because I'm sitting there for half an hour wasting my time. So if you find a way to message me on LinkedIn or something and say, I'm coming, but I'll be there at 7:45, right? Okay, I'll stay. I'll wait for you. That's fine. But just be warned, 7:30, I'm probably going to take off. And it's actually nice. We had a larger group on like the second or third month, and it was nice to have like 4 people there, and we were able to talk about different things, and people were able to, it's like a group therapy for job hunting. It's career club. Come do clubby stuff. Maybe we'll do some face painting. No, we're not going to do face painting. Oh, I forgot to mention, when you come to the in Real Life Career Club, Staples gift cards. I believe they're $25. Whoever shows up gets a chance to get this door prize of $25 Staples card, so you can go get paper supplies and print your resumes out, or get Staples or get some nice markers. If you get a new job and you need to buy some supplies, maybe you like a special type of pen. My wife loves her particular type of pen.
You have one?
Oh, yes, I stole it and I use it. It's here in my cup holder. Although, I really love just a plain old pen. They're great. Don't tell her that, though. That's why I'm being quiet. No, they're great. They're great. But, if you got a special pen that you want for your new job, show up, win a door prize. So basically, everybody who shows up, I'm going to pick their name out, or maybe I'll have you guys arm wrestle to see who gets the door prize. I don't know, it's up to me. I'm the one running the show, right? I volunteer, along with my wife, on the Queen Mary Park Community League. So this is a program that I run as part of my volunteering. So I can put it on my resume. It's on my resume. It's more HR stuff. And since I'm on the Queen Mary Park board, I get experience for running meetings and things like that, right? Like it's a whole different bit of experience that you wouldn't get. So yeah, there's a QR code that'll take you right to the Queen Mary Park Community League website, and on the website is the address to the hall. What do we got? We got Joy here again. My sister's wife let her quit when it was to the point where she would come home crying every day. I mean, that's exhausting. It's just that mental health. Well, my sister was in a position where they could, work on one income. And that's essentially what we've been doing in my household too. My wife has got a great career with her organization. She's been there a long time. But I'm doing consulting work. That up and down. Some months I do great. Other months, nothing. Crickets for like 3 months. So I'm not bringing in that much money, right? This is the life of a consultant trying to run your own business. And it's scary. Cindy also made another comment. I'm good. Doing new work. Different aspect of the work. To do. It is the next I'm thinking about. Many thanks. Yeah, you're welcome, Cindy. And certainly keep that resume up to date. Every time you learn something new in your current position, or you remembered you learned from your education, or you're learning in your volunteer experience. Volunteer experience is still experience. Don't devalue it. It's important. If you're doing something as a volunteer for an organization, write it on your resume. Because if you just say, volunteer at the Edmonton Food Bank, what does that mean? What does that mean? List what you did there. I volunteered in the office. I volunteered on the board. I volunteered in their warehouse. I volunteered, like say what it was. What were you doing? Get it on there. Because suddenly you're getting keywords. More keywords. These are my keywords hands. They're very similar to jazz hands. We just watched Bring It On again last night. Anyway, these are my keyword hands, because you're pulling stuff out of the air and throwing it onto your resume, making yourself look more valuable. Yeah. I'm going to take that QR code off the screen now. It's bugging me. can't see my hands as much. What else? We're running on 1 hour and 24 minutes today. If anyone has any last minute questions, ask it. Ask it now. Right now. Nobody's asking any questions? Nobody? Bueller. I'll just double check all the services, see if there's any comments that maybe I missed right now. Those are my comments on Facebook. Let's refresh the live on LinkedIn. Just got Cindy's comments on there. Thank you very much, Cindy, for being part of the show. I know some weird message showed up on LinkedIn there. Let's refresh the YouTube. So we got Joy, we got HNK 2015, we got Gaming With Me. Thank you for your comments. Of course, big thank you to my sister for all her comments and watching the show. Let's see what else. I'll have to read that thing later. Anyway, when I'm done here, I'm gonna go for a late lunch. It's supposed to be like a lunch and learn type thing. I don't know what I was thinking. It's just means it's breaking up my lunch period, and now I gotta eat early or eat late. Very strange. Thank you to myself for punishing myself. But thank you very much for anyone who watches these, makes a comment. If you're watching this after the live ends, go ahead and make a comment anyway, and I'll try to review the comments, and that'll give us something to chat about. Just looking to see what we got. Right, just once again, I will review your resume if you think you want me to review your resume. If you can't make it to the In Real Life Career Club tonight at 7 p.m. at the Queen Mary Park Community Hall here in Edmonton, you can certainly use this QR code, shoot me a little bit of cash, and I will review your resume, give you some tips, and they'll be geared towards your resume and stuff. And if you ask me additional questions, that's great. So you can do that. I also, before I go, I want to advertise this new design. We all die trying. This was my wife this morning. She mentioned this, and I was like, oh, that would make a great t-shirt. So here we go. We all die trying with this big, happy, winky face t-shirt. This is on my TeePublic store. The money there is in US dollars. It's currently on sale for $20 US instead of $28 US. And you can get it on a t-shirt, or you can get stickers, or coffee mugs. Yeah, coffee mugs. This is professional stuff. You need a coffee mug for work, and you need it to say, we all die trying. So go check that out. Help me out. I have a whole bunch of other designs that I'm making on TeePublic. It's kind of my little creative outlet. And there's HR, business, funny sayings, Indigenous artwork. I mean, not really artwork. They're designs like this, digital designs. And so go check that out. And of course, we are approaching National Day for Truth and Reconciliation at the end of this month on the 30th. If you need your orange t-shirt for that day, make sure you scan that QR code and you go purchase it. That t-shirt is also on sale right now, $27 US instead of $33 US. I did check the price today. They put sales on automatically. I'm not the one doing the pricing or the sales. So go have a look at that. If you need that orange shirt, I am Indigenous. You are supporting me, but TeePublic is a U.S. website, so I guess you can decide whether or not you want to support a U.S. website. The profits do come to me. So, if you, so I'm going to change that QR code again. If you want to have a meeting with me, you want to book a meeting, we can talk about human resources, we can talk about the job search, we can talk about Indigenous relations, we can talk about networking, or maybe you want to be on the show with me, come live with me, and we can talk about your business. Use this QR code to book a meeting with me. That goes right to my calendar link, and we can have a chat and see what you want to do. Here's the direct link to my TeePublic store. Ian the HR Pro. This is just my main store, and you can see all the different designs. But if you went to the other t-shirts, you could click on my name and it'll show you my store. If you learned anything or got any sort of value out of this, please use this QR code to give me a Google review. Make sure it's that awesome 5-star Google review. That's always great. The gold star standard for reviews on the interwebs is still Google reviews. So if you want to give me a review, that's a great place to go do it. Joy, there is a time delay. Yeah, there is a time delay between what I'm saying and what is showing on the streaming services. I think it's something like 5 to 10 seconds. Like, it's actually seems like a really big delay. And if you started the live from the start, yeah, you could be delayed like an hour and 30 minutes. Like that could be your delay because you're not right up current with the current live. Yeah, so hopefully hopefully you're not missing out on the QR codes because of that weird delay. What else do we got going? Community League Hall. I want to give a shout out to my sister, Unbound Creations. This is her Facebook group. You want to go to her Facebook group and support her. She has Indigenous crafts by her, our mother Millie, and her family. So you can connect with her on the group and ask her what there is for sale. My mother does traditional beadings and moccasin making. And Joy does these amazing. You can see the snakes on the table. There's the one on. It's like third from the right. Is green with gold tips. That's it right there. I purchased that one. Oh yeah, very fun 3D printed stuff she's got going on. It's like a fidget toy. It's kind of like these fidget toys I got here. You see me doing this. If you hear that noise, that's me playing with the fidget toys while I'm talking. She's got some great stuff, and she goes to farmers markets and things like that. And it would be great if you joined the group and supported her. Now, if anyone else has some sort of cool group like that you want to share with me, let me know. You can put it in the chat right now. Put a link to it in the chat and say, hey, I'm selling stuff too. This is my side hustle. Go ahead, put it in the chat. Let us see what you're doing. And right, if you're in the middle of the job search and you're thinking, oh, I don't know what to do. I need a side hustle or some additional business to get me going. Consider Whatnot. I'll change that screen out. In fact, I'll take this one away. So if you want to sell on Whatnot, use this link. Whatnot will give you $150 matching up to $150 if you sell $150 worth of stuff in your first week of joining Whatnot. Whatnot is garage sale meets home shopping network. So you do this, you go live, and you're like, I got this product. Oh, juices and juliennes and dices, right? Okay, that's a strange product. But anyway, you get to show your product and you get to sell the product. And so learn that system and say, I got a bunch of stuff around the house I want to sell. And I spoke earlier, I've got some old comics from the 90s and even some from the 80s that I'm trying to sell. I just had them forever. They're not sentimental to me, so I might as well just sell them. I might make a few bucks. And actually, I'm so scared. I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. My live tomorrow, fun and games. That's the topic. We talk about just about anything and everything. I'm going to go live on Whatnot at the same time. Scary. So I'll have my phone up and I'll be live on Whatnot, and I'll be live on my other places that I normally go live. It'll be scary. So I was trying to set up my products today and hopefully have them all set up for the show tomorrow. And we'll see how it goes. Moving down the road, I'm thinking, just because I like magic cards, I would like it to get into magic cards and reselling booster packs. And I got a bunch of old magic cards that might be worth something, so I might sell those. Who knows? But I want to do something in that gaming realm because I really enjoy Magic the Gathering. So if you want to sell and you're in the middle of that, I gotta make a few bucks so I can quit my job, so I can pay my rent at the end of the month. I think Whatnot might do it, but certainly try to go live on different other places, or use all your other social media and say, I'm currently going live on Whatnot. Come over, and give them your link, your code, or whatever, so they can come join you. Right? There's no guarantee it's going to happen fast. You might have to build up that audience first before you make any really good sales, because you got to get some people in there, because it's auction based, similar to eBay auctions but shorter. The auctions on Whatnot are like 5 to 60 seconds or something like that. Like, you can set the length, so it's kind of scary. But you get that hype, and then you start the auction, right? You get a few people following you. No, a time delay on when you can see our comments. Oh, so when you comment, it takes my system. I'm using a program called Restream.io for my streaming, so I can stream onto multiple services at once. My sister says, you read one of mine, but you couldn't see the other two. Okay, so they're kind of coming in slow for me. That's all right. I'm a slow kind of guy, right? Here, I'll show you the comments. Here's the comments as they come in, right? We had Cindy and other people. And it's backwards. It's backwards. The newest comment on the top, and it goes down. So, but anyway, that's how I'm seeing it as it comes in. I think that's the connection to the different streaming services. I guess it takes, I don't know how long. It probably takes a couple minutes. So anyway, I didn't see any other questions coming in. So I'm going to end this live stream today. 1 hour and 39 minutes. Thank you, everybody, for the questions you asked. Join me tomorrow for the live show. It should be a terrible, terrible disaster. But I'm going to do it anyway, just to try it out. I'm so scared. I'm really scared. Anyway, okay, everybody. Thank you. I'm going to hit